The stars looked different today. Admiral Kang Tae stood in the observation deck of Luna Base, his hands clasped behind his back. The coffee in his cup had gone cold an hour ago, but he didn't notice. His eyes were fixed on the dark space beyond the moon's horizon. "Sir, they're here," Commander Hannah Park said quietly behind him. She didn't need to say who they were. Everyone on the base had been waiting for this moment for 3 days. Kong turned from the window. His face was calm, almost peaceful. "How many ships?" 12,000, sir. Maybe more. They're still coming out of hyperspace, at the edge of the solar system. Hannah's voice was steady, professional. She had trained for this her entire career. 12,000, Kong repeated. He took a sip of his cold coffee and made a face. That's quite a lot. They must think we're important. Hannah almost smiled. Almost. They're broadcasting a message. Standard conquest protocol, according to the xenolinguistics team. Surrender or die. We have 12 hours to respond. 12 hours? How generous. Kong walked past her toward the command center. Get me Dr. Yuna Lee, and wake up Captain Jin Woo. Tell him his vacation is over. The command center was busy, but not chaotic. Officers moved between stations with purpose. Screens showed the alien fleet in various displays. Ships the size of mountains hung in space, like predatory fish. Their weapons bristled from every surface. They looked powerful. They looked unstoppable. Dr. Yuna Lee arrived within minutes. She was a small woman with sharp eyes and wild hair that she never bothered to tie back. She looked at the main screen showing the alien fleet and laughed. Actually laughed. Something funny, Doctor? Kong asked. They brought 12,000 ships, Yuna said, still grinning. To conquer Earth. They really have no idea, do they? No, Kong agreed. They don't. How long until we can activate Protocol Nightfall? Give me 2 hours to run final checks. But sir, are we sure? Once we do this, there's no going back. The whole galaxy will know. Kong looked at the alien ships again. For 50 years, Earth had hidden. For 50 years, humanity had pretended to be primitive. They had used old rockets and simple satellites where others could see them. They had let alien probes fly by and report back that Earth was no threat. All while they built their true defenses in secret. Yes, Kong said finally. We're sure. They made their choice when they came here with weapons. Contact the Council. Tell President Bo Ra we need authorization. Captain Jin Woo arrived at the flight deck still pulling on his uniform jacket. He had been asleep in his quarters, dreaming about his family back in Mizzen. The alarm had jolted him awake with the message. He'd been half expecting for years. This is not a drill. Status, he barked at his flight crew. Lieutenant Era Kim. His wingman was already in her flight suit. Fleet's at the edge of the system. They're moving in slow, probably scanning us. Our birds are prepped and ready. Jin looked at his fighter, the Thunderhawk. It looked like a normal atmospheric craft to casual inspection. Sleek, fast, but nothing special. That was the point. Hidden beneath its skin were engines that could push it to 30% light speed, weapons that could crack a moon, shields that could survive a star's corona. How long until they're in range? Jin asked. At their current speed? 18 hours. But sir, Era hesitated. Are we really going to do this? I mean, I know we've trained, but 12,000 ships? Jin smiled. Era, remember what Instructor Minho told us in Academy? Which thing? He told us lots of things. He said the best fight is the one your enemy doesn't know they've already lost. Jin patted the hull of his fighter. They think we're primitives. Let them keep thinking that for a few more hours. In orbit around Earth, Captain Narration stood on the bridge of her ship. The ghost wind, It was a small vessel, barely 200 meters long. It looked old and slow. It was neither. Stealth systems check, she ordered. All green, Captain, her tactical officer replied. We're invisible to their scans. All 48 ships in the stealth fleet are in position. Nari nodded. Her ship and its sister vessels had been waiting in orbit for 3 years, hidden in plain sight. The alien sensors would pass right over them. Humanity had learned about stealth technology from the precursor ruins. The aliens apparently hadn't. We wait, Nari said. When Admiral Kong gives the signal, we show them what a real ambush looks like. President Biora Yang sat in the war room, deep beneath Geneva. Around the table sat the leaders of Earth's united government. Screens showed the alien fleet from every angle. Intelligence reports scrolled past. Casualty projections, defense scenarios, attack patterns. They want our answer in 12 hours, the Secretary of Defense said. We could give them 3 hours instead. Show them we're not afraid. No, Ambassador Suhan said. Give them 11 hours and 59 minutes. Let them think we're desperate and discussing terms. Let them relax. President Biora looked at the reports. 50 years ago, humanity had found something in the deepest part of the ocean. A ship, not human. Not recent, old, so old that carbon dating was useless. The technology inside had been like nothing Earth had ever seen. It had taken decades to understand it. Decades more to replicate it thought, and humanity had done it all in secret. Admiral Kong requests authorization for Protocol Nightfall, General Minho Choi said quietly. The room fell silent. This was the moment. Once they revealed themselves, the galaxy would never look at Earth the same way again. Humanity would no longer be the primitive backwater planet that could be ignored. Biora thought about her daughter. Asleep in soul, she thought about the billions of people on Earth who trusted her to keep them safe. She thought about the Valtrine Empire that had conquered 47 worlds and enslaved countless species. Authorized, she said. And General? Tell Admiral Kong that if even one of those ships gets close enough to threaten Earth, I'll be very disappointed. Minho smiled grimly. Ma'am, I don't think that will be a problem. Back on Luna Base, Admiral Kong Tae received the authorization code. He entered it into his command console and watched as systems came online. All across the solar system, invisible platforms powered up. Thousands of ships that had been hiding on the far side of asteroids or in the shadow of moons began their startup sequences. Dr. Yuna Lee stood next to him. Nightfall is ready, sir. Just say the word. Kong looked at the timer. The aliens had 9 hours left on their deadline. He decided to be polite and at least let them get closer. Let them think Earth was considering surrender. Let them move their entire fleet into the inner system where they couldn't easily run away. We wait, Kong said. Let them come to us. In 9 hours, we'll give them our answer. Hannah looked at the alien fleet. Sir, what if they don't give us 9 hours? What if they attack early? Kong smiled. For the first time since the aliens arrived, he really smiled. Commander, humanity has been waiting 50 years for this. If they attack early, well, he looked at the hidden weapons grid surrounding Earth. That just means they'll learn their lesson a bit sooner. In the cold dark of space, the Valtrine Empire's fleet moved forward. They had no idea what waited for them. The Valtrine fleet commander was named Thulrax, and he was not worried. He stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Endless Conquest, and watched the primitive planet grow larger on his screens. His scales glittered under the ship's lights. His 4 eyes scanned the tactical displays with satisfaction. Report, he commanded in his native tongue. The planet has not responded to our demands, his second officer said. Their deadline expires in 1 hour. We detect minimal defense satellites. Primitive chemical rockets. Some nuclear weapons. Nothing that can harm us. Thulrax clicked his mandibles in amusement. They probably don't even understand our message. These creatures barely had spaceflight. Ready the bombardment weapons. When the deadline passes, we'll destroy their military bases first. Then they'll learn to obey. His crew worked efficiently. They had done this 47 times before. This world would be 40-8 on Luna Base. Admiral Kong watched the countdown timer reach 0. The deadline had passed. Right on schedule, the alien fleet began charging their weapons. He could see the energy signatures building on his displays. They're targeting Luna Base, Earth's orbital stations, and military installations in North America and Asia, Hana reported. Dr. Yuna, are we ready? Kong asked calmly. Yuna's fingers flew over her console. All systems green. Quantum barriers at full power. Stealth fleet in position. Strike groups ready. Sir, we're more than ready. Captain Nari, what's your status? From orbit, Nari's voice came through crystal clear. Ghost Wind and all stealth ships are locked on target, sir. They have no idea we're here. Kong took a deep breath. Then let's teach the galaxy a lesson. Dr. Yuna, drop the camouflage. Captain Nari, weapons free. All ships engage at will. The first Valtrine plasma cannon fired. A massive beam of superheated energy screamed across space toward Luna Base. It hit something 50 kilometers from the moon's surface and simply stopped. The energy splashed against an invisible wall and dissipated into harmless radiation. Thulrax leaned forward. What was that? Why didn't the base explode? Unknown energy barrier. Commander. Scanning now. Sir, the readings don't make sense. This technology is, the officer never finished. On every screen, new contacts appeared. Hundreds of them. Thousands. Ships materialized out of empty space where sensors had shown nothing moments before. The orbital satellites transformed, unfolding into massive weapon platforms. The primitive space stations expanded, revealing hidden armor and weapons. Sir? New contacts. 12,000. 15,000. 20,000 ships. Where did they come from? The second officer's voice cracked with panic, but that wasn't the worst of it. The worst came when 48 ships appeared inside their formation. Simply appeared, as if they had been there all along. Which, Thulrax realized with growing horror, they had been. Invisible. Waiting. Captain Nari smiled as her Ghost Wind dropped stealth right in the middle of 3 Valtrine cruisers. Fire, she said simply. The Ghost Wind's weapons weren't like anything the Valtrine had seen. No plasma, no missiles. Just focused beams of quantum-disrupted spacetime. The 3 cruisers next to her didn't explode. They just stopped working. Their engines died. Their weapons went dark. Their shields collapsed. In 3 seconds, 3 ships that had taken years to build became floating metal coffins. All across the alien fleet, Nari's stealth ships did the same. Pop into existence. Fire. Disable. Move. The Valtrine formations scattered in confusion. Launch fighters. Admiral Kong ordered. Captain Jin Woo had been waiting for those words. You heard the Admiral. All wings launch. Let's go hunting. The Thunderhawk shot out of Luna Base like a bullet. One moment it was sitting in the hangar. The next it was moving at speeds that should have turned Jin into paste. But humanity had learned about inertial dampening from the precursor ruins. Jin felt only a slight push. Lieutenant Era Kim's Stormraven flew beside him. Target-rich environment, she said, her voice excited. I'm reading 3,000 enemy fighters launching. Only 3,000? Jin laughed. This'll be over too fast. All wings stay tight. Let's show them why they should have stayed home. The human fighters moved like nothing the Valtrine had ever faced. They dodged and weaved at relativistic speeds. Their weapons fired with perfect accuracy. Jin's first pass destroyed 12 alien fighters before they even knew he was there. Era took out 15. New record. She called out. Show off, Jin replied, grinning. He rolled his fighter and fired again. The alien ships were so slow. They moved like they were stuck in mud. Their weapons couldn't track the human fighters. Their shields couldn't stop the quantum cannons. In 4 minutes, Jin's wing destroyed 300 enemy fighters. They lost 0. On the endless conquest, Thulrax was screaming orders. Nothing made sense. His ships were dying. His fighters were being slaughtered. The enemy was everywhere. Their weapons passed through his shields like they weren't even there. His sensors kept giving impossible readings. Return fire. Hit something. He roared. His ships tried. They fired everything they had. Plasma beams. Kinetic missiles. Fusion warheads. All of it struck those invisible barriers and failed. Meanwhile, the human ships didn't even need barriers. They simply weren't there when his weapons arrived. They moved too fast. Predicted his targeting. It was like fighting ghosts. Commander, the fleet is requesting permission to retreat. His second officer said. Granted. All ships jump to hyperspace. Emergency protocols. Every Valtrine ship tried to activate their hyperdrive at once. Nothing happened. The jump engine started, built up energy, and then just stopped. Dr. Sung Hwan smiled from his station on Luna Base. His quantum disruption array covered the entire solar system. Nothing was jumping to hyperspace without his permission. They're not going anywhere, Admiral. Good, Kong said. Commander Hana, please inform the Valtrine commander that surrender is his only option. Captain Hwan, are you in position? From deep space, Commander Huan Li's voice answered. His ship, the Avalanche, was a dreadnought 3 kilometers long. It had been hiding behind Saturn. In position, sir. Targeting the enemy flagship. Show them what a real weapon looks like. The Avalanche fired once. A single graviton pulse. It crossed the distance to the endless conquest in seconds. The pulse didn't destroy the ship. It simply grabbed it, wrapped it in a gravity field so powerful that every system on the Valtrine flagship shut down. Life support stayed on humanity wasn't cruel, but everything else went dark. Thulrax felt his ship go dead. Emergency lights flickered on. He looked at his screens and saw the human dreadnought. It was twice the size of his flagship, and it had just caught his ship like a parent catching a misbehaving child. All ships cease fire, Admiral Kong ordered. They're done. Hannah checked her displays. Time from first shot to complete enemy neutralization. 23 minutes, sir. 23 minutes, Kang repeated. He looked at the disabled Valtrine fleet. 12,000 ships. All floating dead in space. Some damaged, most just disabled. And humanity had done it without losing a single ship. Without a single casualty. Captain Jin brought his fighter back toward Luna Base. That was disappointing, he told Era. I thought they'd be tougher. They probably thought they were tough. Era replied. Until they met us. All across Earth, people watched the battle on screens. It had been broadcast live by presidential order. Everyone needed to see this. Needed to know that humanity was safe. That the secret they'd kept for 50 years had just paid off. In his war room, General Minho Choi watched the disabled alien fleet. What do we do with 12,000 ships full of hostile aliens? President Bora Yang stood up. We show them that strength and mercy aren't opposites. Capture their crews. Repair their ships. And then we send them home with a message. What message, Mom? Buzora smiled. It wasn't a kind smile. It was the smile of someone who had just won a fight without throwing a punch. We tell them that Earth is no longer afraid, and that the galaxy has new rules now. In space, the Valtrine crews sat in their dead ships and waited. They expected death, expected slavery, expected torture. That's what they would have done to a defeated enemy. They had no idea that humanity had other plans. Captain Rin Jiang had never expected to be a prison warden for aliens, but life was full of surprises. She walked through the detention facility that had been hastily set up in a series of cargo ships in Earth orbit. Around her, Valtrine soldiers sat in transparent holding cells, their 4 eyes watching her with a mix of fear and confusion. They're not eating, her second-in-command reported. They think we poisoned the food. Rin sighed. Did you show them the chemical analysis? Prove it's safe? Yes, Captain. They still don't believe it. I think they're waiting for us to torture them. Rin stopped walking and looked at the nearest cell. Inside, a Valtrine soldier sat rigid, his scales pale with stress. She accessed the translation system. Why won't you eat? The alien stared at her. Why delay the inevitable? You defeated us. Now you will kill us slowly. At least have the honor to do it quickly. We're not going to kill you, Rin said patiently. You're prisoners of war. Under Earth law, that means you get food, medical care, and humane treatment. The Valtrine laughed. It was a harsh, bitter sound. Lies. The strong do not show mercy to the weak. We conquered 47 worlds. We know how this works. Rin turned to her second. Get Dr. He Nan down here. These people need more than food. They need education. Dr. He Nam was a Zenop psychologist, one of the few humans trained to understand alien minds. She arrived an hour later and immediately began interviews with the prisoners. What she learned disturbed her. Admiral Kong, we have a problem, she said over the comlink. These aliens literally cannot comprehend mercy. Their entire culture is built on domination. When they conquer a world, they enslave the population. The strong rule. The weak suffer. They think we're just playing with them before the torture starts. Kong rubbed his temples. How do we convince them otherwise? Time, sir. And actions. We feed them. We treat their wounded. We show them day after day that we're different. Eventually, they'll have to believe it. In another part of the detention facility, Commander Thulrax sat alone in a larger cell. He had refused all food and water for 2 days. When the door opened and a human walked in, he prepared to die. But the human just sat down across from him and opened a container of food. She began eating. It was General Minho Choi, though Thulrax didn't know her rank. I'm not here to interrogate you, Minho said between bites. Just to eat lunch. Long day, Thulrax said nothing. You know what I find interesting? Minho continued. Your ships. We've been examining them. The technology is solid. Good engineering. About 200 years behind ours, but still good. If you're trying to make me angry, I'm trying to make you think, Minho interrupted. You came here with 12,000 ships. You thought that was enough to conquer Earth, but you never asked the important question. What question? Why was Earth alone? Minho set down her food and looked directly at Thulrax. You conquered 47 worlds. Each one probably fought back with everything they had. But Earth? We've been sending out primitive probes and slow rockets for decades. We looked weak, helpless. Didn't you wonder why nobody else had conquered us already? Thulrax felt something cold settle in his stomach. He hadn't wondered that. None of them had. We let you think we were weak, Minho said softly. Because we wanted to be left alone. We had no interest in galactic politics. We just wanted to develop in peace. But you couldn't leave us alone, could you? We were the Empire, Thulrax said, but his voice lacked conviction. Were is right. Because today, the Empire ended. Minho stood up. Your government will receive our turn soon. But you'll be going home. All of you're releasing us? Thulrax couldn't hide his shock. Eventually. First, you'll be tried for war crimes. But yes, you'll go home. Minho walked to the door and paused. Oh, and Commander? Eat something. You're not going to die here. That would be too easy. On Earth, Engineer Hyan Choi was having the time of his life. He stood inside a captured Valtrine cruiser, examining their reactor system with fascination. It was like looking at a steam engine when you are used to fusion reactors. They use liquid plasma containment, he told his team. Liquid? We stopped using that tech 30 years ago. It's so inefficient. Can we upgrade it? One of his engineers asked. Upgrade? We could replace their entire power system with one of our microfusion cores and triple their range. Maybe quadruple. Hyan ran calculations on his tablet. Actually, you know what? Let's do that. Let's upgrade their ships. Sir, these are enemy vessels. Not anymore. President's orders. We're giving them back. Hyan grinned. But I'll be damned if I send them home in ships that might fall apart. We fix them up, upgrade them, and send them back better than they came. Make a statement, you know. The engineer blinked. That's either brilliant or insane. Why not both? In Geneva, President Ba Rao-yang met with Ambassador Su Han and Admiral Kong via hologram. They had decisions to make. The prisoners are starting to understand we're not going to kill them, Su reported. But they're confused about what we want. What do we want? Bisore asked. That's the real question, isn't it? We just destroyed an Empire's fleet. The galaxy is going to react. How do we want them to see us? Kong spoke up. We could use fear. Show such overwhelming force that nobody dares attack us again. Or, Su countered, we could use wisdom. Show that strength and mercy can coexist. That there's a better way than constant conquest and war. Bai-Ra looked out her window at the city below. 50 years ago, we found precursor technology. It could have made us conquerors. Instead, we used it to protect ourselves, to advance our society. We could have gone out and conquered the galaxy. Why didn't we? Because that's not who we are, Kong said quietly. Exactly. So we show the galaxy who we are. Not conquerors. Not victims, protectors, partners. We create something new. Bai-Ra made her decision. Ambassador Su, I want you to prepare for a diplomatic mission to the Valtrine homeworld. Take a fleet. Make it clear we could destroy them if we wanted to. But offer them something better instead. A treaty? Su asked. A future, Bai-Ra replied. One where they don't have to conquer to survive. Where their people can live without constant war. On Lunabase, Dr. Yuna Lee worked on a new project. She had been examining the Valtrine computer systems and found something interesting. A database. Names and locations of every world the Empire had conquered. Every enslaved species. Every occupied planet. Admiral, you need to see this, she called Kong over to her station. The Empire didn't just conquer these worlds. They strip-mined them, took all their resources, enslaved their populations. Some of these species are on the verge of extinction. Kong felt anger rise in his chest. Can we contact these worlds? Yes, sir. Their locations are all here. Some are close. Some are months away, even at our top speed. Then we contact them. All of them. Kong straightened. If we're going to take down an empire, we might as well free everyone they enslaved while we're at it. Captain Jin Woo was back on duty, this time leading patrols around the disabled Valtrine fleet. It was boring work after the excitement of the battle, but necessary. Some of the alien ships might try something stupid. Jin, you seeing this? Aira's voice came through his comb. Seeing what? One of the Valtrine fighters. It's transmitting. Not to its fleet. To us. Says he wants to defect. Jin brought his fighter around. Defect? Already? Already? Says his name is Kral. He's been watching us and wants to join the winning side. Jin thought about it. Bring him in. Let intelligence sort it out. But keep your weapons hot. Could be a trick. It wasn't a trick. Kral was genuine. He landed his fighter on Luna Base and immediately asked for asylum. Within hours, he was talking to intelligence officers, telling them everything about the Empire. Its weaknesses. Its politics. Its other fleets. There are more fleets. General Minho asked. 5 more, Kral said through a translator. Smaller than this one. They're spread across the Empire, keeping the conquered worlds in line. If you want to truly end the Empire, you'll need to deal with them too. Minho shared a look with Admiral Kung. 5 more fleets. We can handle it, Kong said confidently. But we'll need help. Local help. From the people the Empire conquered. A rebellion? Minho smiled. Backed by Earth technology and training? Backed by freedom, Kong corrected. We give them the tools. They take back their worlds. The Empire falls not because we destroyed it, but because we gave people the power to free themselves. President Briora approved the plan within hours. Earth would not become conquerors, but they would become liberators, teachers, protectors of those who couldn't protect themselves. 2 weeks after the battle, the first repaired Valtrine ship was ready. It had new engines, new weapons, new shields, all better than the originals. Engineer Haiyan stood back and admired his work. Think they'll appreciate it? One of his team asked. Probably not, Haiyan admitted. But that's okay. We're not doing this for thanks. We're doing it because it's right. The ship launched with a skeleton crew of prisoners being repatriated. They would carry Earth's message to the Empire. The war was over. The old ways were dead. A new age had begun. And whether the galaxy liked it or not, humanity was now part of it. Ambassador Suhan stood on the bridge of the diplomatic vessel Horizon, watching the Valtrine homeworld grow larger on the view screen. Behind her ship, a fleet of 50 human warships maintained formation. Not an attack fleet, an escort. A reminder. We're being scanned, the communications officer reported. Multiple targeting locks from the planetary defense grid. Expected, Sue said calmly. Open a channel. All frequencies. The channel opened. Sue took a breath and spoke. People of the Valtrine Empire, this is Ambassador Suhan of Earth. We come in peace, but we come with power. Your invasion fleet attacked our world. We defeated them in 23 minutes. Not one human died. Not one human ship was lost. We have come to discuss the future. Silence. Then a voice harsh and angry. You hold our soldiers hostage. You destroyed our fleet. What more do you want? We want you to listen, Sue replied. May we speak face to face? Or do we have to shout at each other across space? More silence. Then, reluctantly, you may send a shuttle, alone, weapons disabled. Sue smiled. We'll send 3 shuttles. My security detail is non-negotiable, but our weapons will stay powered down. As a show of good faith, she turned to Captain Nari, who commanded the stealth ship Ghost Wind as part of the escort fleet. Captain, keep your eyes open. If this goes bad, we'll get you out, Nari promised. Nobody's dying today. The shuttles landed in the capital city of the Valtrine homeworld. Sue stepped out with her security team, led by Captain Rin Zhang. The city was impressive. Tall buildings made of metal and stone. Crowds of Valtrine citizens watching from a distance. Soldiers everywhere, weapons ready. They were led to a massive hall where the Valtrine High Council waited. 12 members, all old, all scarred from decades of war. They looked at Sue with hatred and fear equal measure. "Speak, human," the head counselor said. "Explain why we should not kill you where you stand." "Because you can't," Sue said simply. "And because killing me would only prove that you've learned nothing. We have learned plenty. We learned that humans are dangerous, that we underestimated you." "No," Sue walked forward. "You learned that you're not invincible, that someone finally said no to you. That's not the same thing." She activated a holographic display. Images appeared in the air. The battle, the disabled fleet, Earth's technology, the repaired ships. "We could have killed every single one of your soldiers," Sue continued. "We could have destroyed every ship. Instead, we're repairing them, upgrading them. Your people will go home in better ships than they came in." "Why?" One of the counselors leaned forward. "What is your game, human?" "No game. Just a different way of thinking." Sue changed the image. Now it showed the 47 worlds the Empire had conquered. "You built your empire on conquest, on slavery, on fear. But empires built on fear always fall. Always. History proves this again and again. Our empire has stood for 3 centuries, and it will end in our lifetime if you don't change," Sue said bluntly. "Because we're not the only species tired of you. We found your records. The 47 worlds you conquered? They hate you. They're only quiet because they fear you. But now they know someone defeated you. Someone stronger than you. How long do you think it will be before they rebel?" The council members looked at each other. They knew she was right. "We're offering you a choice," Sue continued. "You can keep your empire. Keep ruling through fear. We won't stop you. But we will help every world that wants to break free. We'll give them weapons, training, technology. Your empire will crumble slowly, painfully, over decades. Or," the head counselor asked, "or you end it yourselves. Release the conquered worlds. Give them independence. Transform your empire into a cooperative, an alliance of free planets working together. Earth will support you, protect you, help you transition. You expect us to just give up everything we've built?" Sue shook her head. "I expect you to build something better. Your people are warriors, engineers, survivors. Imagine what you could accomplish if you weren't spending all your resources on conquest and occupation. Imagine trading instead of taking, learning instead of destroying." One counselor laughed bitterly. "Naive human. You think the galaxy works on ideals? It works on strength, power. The strong survive. The weak die. Then why are we standing here?" Rin Zhang spoke up for the first time. "If that's true, why haven't we killed you all? We're stronger. We won. By your logic, we should enslave you. But we're not. Because strength and cruelty are not the same thing." The hall fell silent. "We're giving you 1 month," Sue said. 1 month to make your decision. Reform your empire into a cooperative alliance, or watch it fall apart as we liberate every world you've conquered. The choice is yours." Back on the horizon, Sue collapsed into her chair. The meeting had taken 5 hours of intense debate. The Valtrine Council had argued, threatened, pleaded, but in the end, they had agreed to consider Earth's terms. "Think they'll actually do it?" Rin asked. I don't know, Sue admitted, but we gave them a path forward. That's more than they had yesterday. On one of the liberated worlds, a planet called Kelvin, General Minho Troy met with local leaders. The planet had been under Valtrine rule for 80 years. Its people, a species called the Kelvi, had almost forgotten freedom. You're really leaving? One of the Kelvi elders asked. Just giving us weapons and leaving? We're giving you more than weapons, Minho corrected. We're giving you training, technology. But yes, we're leaving. This is your world. You should rule it. Not us. Not the Valtrine. But what if the Empire comes back? Then you fight them, Minho said. And if you need help, you call us. We'll come. That's what allies do. The elder looked at the crates of weapons and equipment Earth had delivered. Advanced shields. Quantum communication systems. Defensive platforms. Why are you doing this? Because 50 years ago, we found something that made us powerful, Minho said. We could have used it to conquer. Instead, we used it to prepare, to protect ourselves. Now we're sharing it because we believe every species has the right to defend themselves. To be free, she placed a hand on the elder's shoulder. The Empire taught you that the strong rule the weak. We're teaching you something different. That the strong protect the weak. That freedom is worth fighting for. Now prove us right. Over the next month, Earth ships visited dozens of worlds. Each one received the same offer. Technology, training, support for independence. Some accepted immediately. Others were suspicious. A few refused, too broken by decades of slavery to believe freedom was possible. But most said yes. And across the former empire, rebellions began to spark. On Earth, Dr. Yuna Lee and engineer Haiyan Choi worked on something new. A message beacon. It would broadcast on all frequencies, reaching across the galaxy. What should it say? Haiyan asked. Yuna thought for a moment. Something simple. Something true. She typed, "To all species of the galaxy, Earth is here. We are strong. We are peaceful. We will defend ourselves. We will help those who need help. We will not conquer. We will not kneel. We offer friendship to all who come in peace. And to those who come with war, you have been warned." Short and sweet, Haiyan approved. Think anyone will listen? The ones who matter will, Yuna said. Back on the Valtrine homeworld, the High Council met in secret. They had spent a month debating, fighting. Some wanted to reject Earth's terms and prepare for war. Others saw the writing on the wall. We have reports from 40 systems, one counselor said. Rebellions on 17 worlds. Our garrison forces are being overwhelmed. They have Earth weapons. Earth training. We're losing. We could commit the other fleets, another suggested. Crush the rebellions. And when Earth intervenes? What then? We saw what happened to the invasion fleet. We'd lose everything. The head counselor raised his hand for silence. The question is simple. Do we die as an empire? Or do we survive as something new? The vote was close. 7-5. But in the end, the council chose survival. They sent a message to Earth. One word. Agreed. Ambassador Sue received the message while on the horizon, traveling to another liberated world. She read it 3 times to make sure she understood. They agreed, she told her crew. The Empire is dissolving itself. They're releasing all conquered worlds. They want to join the Galactic Cooperative. Captain Nari let out a long breath. We did it. We actually did it. Not we, Sue corrected. They did it. We just gave them the choice. News of the Valtrine Empire's dissolution spread across the galaxy within days. Reactions varied. Some species celebrated. Others worried. If the mighty Valtrine Empire could fall, what did that mean for everyone else? And everywhere, people asked the same question. Who were these humans? Where had they come from? And what did they want? President B. Ora Yang answered that question in a broadcast to the entire galaxy. Earth wants nothing but to live in peace. We want trade, friendship, cultural exchange. But we will not be threatened. We will not be conquered. And we will not stand by while others are enslaved. The galaxy has operated on the rule of the strong for too long. We propose a new rule, the rule of the just. Join us in building a better future, or leave us alone. The choice is yours. The broadcast ended. The galaxy listened. And slowly, carefully, things began to change. 6 months had passed since the Valtrine Empire fell. Admiral Kang Te stood in the same observation deck on Luna Base where he had watched the alien fleet arrive. But today, he was watching something different. A convoy of ships. 50 vessels from 20 different species, all heading toward Earth for the first summit of the Galactic Cooperative. Hard to believe, isn't it? Commander Hannah Park said beside him. Half a year ago, nobody knew we existed. Now we're hosting a galactic government. Not a government, Kang corrected gently. A cooperative. Big difference. Nobody rules anyone else. The first ships were already landing. The Kelvy sent a delegation. The Valtrine, now reformed, sent diplomats instead of warriors. Species that had been enemies for centuries were coming to Earth to talk instead of fight. President B. Ora Yang greeted each delegation personally. She shook hands, tentacles, claws, and various other appendages. Each species brought gifts, technology, art, knowledge. But more than that, they brought hope. Thank you for coming, Aora told each group. Earth is honored to host you. The summit took place in a massive complex built specifically for this purpose. Translation systems handled the dozens of languages. Environmental controls kept everyone comfortable. Human staff worked alongside alien assistants to make sure everything ran smoothly. On the first day, Ambassador Su Han stood before the assembly. Hundreds of aliens looked at her, waiting to hear what humanity wanted. We are here to build something new, Su began. For too long, the galaxy has been divided. Empires conquering empires. Species enslaving species. War after war after war. Earth was isolated from this. We developed alone. And maybe that was a blessing, because we developed differently. She activated a display showing Earth's history. The wars, the conflicts. The slow, painful climb toward peace. We're not perfect, Sue continued. We've made mistakes. We've fought our own wars. But we learned something important. That cooperation is stronger than conquest. That peace is more profitable than war. That diversity makes us stronger, not weaker. A Valtrine delegate raised his hand. Earth speaks of cooperation, but you have the most powerful military in the galaxy. You could conquer us all if you wished. We could, Sue agreed. But we won't. Because conquest creates enemies. Cooperation creates friends. And we'd rather have friends. Over the next 3 days, the summit worked on creating the framework for the Galactic Cooperative. Each species would maintain sovereignty. No central government would rule. Instead, they would have councils for trade, defense, and dispute resolution. Membership was voluntary. Leading was allowed. Nobody would be forced to stay. It won't be perfect, General Minho Choi told a group of military leaders from various species. There will be problems, disputes, maybe even conflicts. But we'll have a way to solve them without war. That's the goal. A former Valtrine commander, now working with the reformed government, asked a question. What about species that don't join? That stay hostile? We leave them alone, Mino replied. Unless they attack a member of the cooperative. Then we defend. But we don't go looking for fights. And if they attack Earth directly? Minho smiled. It was not a warm smile. Then they'll learn the same lesson the Empire learned. Quickly. Captain Jin Woo and Lieutenant Era Kim were assigned to patrol duty during the summit. They flew patterns around the solar system, watching for any threats. It was boring work, but necessary. Think this will actually work? Era asked over the comm. This whole cooperative thing? Maybe, Jin replied. Better than what came before, anyway. At least everyone's talking instead of shooting. Until someone starts shooting. Then we shoot back. But at least we'll try talking first. Their patrol took them past Mars, where construction was underway. Humanity was building shipyards. Not for warships, though. For cargo vessels. Trading ships. Earth had resources and technology. Other worlds had different resources and different knowledge. Trade was already beginning. On the Valtrine homeworld, former Commander Thulrax walked through the capital city. He was no longer in chains. He had been tried, sentenced to community service, and released. Now he worked at a refugee center, helping Valtrine citizens adjust to the new reality. It was strange. The Empire had given his life purpose, structure, now that purpose was gone. But slowly, carefully, he was finding a new one. A young Valtrine approached him. Is it true that you fought against the humans? Yes, Thulrax admitted. What were they like? He thought about it. Strong, but not cruel. They defeated us completely, but they didn't destroy us. They gave us a chance to be better. That's something our Empire never did. The young Valtrine looked confused. So humans are weak? Because they showed mercy? No, Thulrax said firmly. They're the strongest species I've ever encountered. Because true strength isn't just about destroying your enemies. It's about knowing when not to destroy them. He still didn't fully understand humans. Probably never would. But he was beginning to respect them. Dr. Yuna Lei was back in her laboratory, working on a new project. The precursor ruins had revealed more secrets. Technologies that even Earth hadn't mastered yet. But instead of keeping them secret, she was preparing to share them with the cooperative. Are you sure about this? Dr. Sung Kwan asked. Some of this technology is incredibly dangerous in the wrong hands. Everything is dangerous in the wrong hands, Yuna replied. But we can't build trust by holding back. We share our knowledge. Others share theirs. We all advance together. And if someone uses it to attack us, then we'll deal with it. But we can't let fear control us. That's what the Empire did. Look where it got them. Engineer Hyen Choi was having the time of his life. He had alien engineers in his workshop, sharing techniques and theories. A Kelvy engineer showed him a new type of energy coupling. A reformed Valtrine scientist explained their approach to plasma containment. A species called the Drex demonstrated their biological computers. This is amazing, Hyen told his team. We could learn more in the next year than we did in the last 50. Assuming everyone plays nice, one of his engineers cautioned. They will, Hyen said confidently, because everyone benefits from cooperation. Even the most stubborn species will eventually see that. Captain Narration was assigned to train other species in defensive tactics. Her students were a mix of former Valtrine soldiers and militia members from liberated worlds. They were terrible at first. Decades of conquest-based warfare had taught them all the wrong lessons. Stop, Nari called out during a simulation. You're still thinking like attackers. I'm teaching you defense. There's a difference. A Kelvy soldier raised his hand. But Captain, how can we defend without attacking? Defense is about protecting what matters. Your worlds. Your people. You don't need to conquer anyone to do that. You just need to make attacking you more trouble than it's worth. She reset the simulation. Let's try again. This time, think about protecting the planet, not destroying the enemy fleet. The second attempt went better. Slowly, they were learning. On Earth, people were adjusting to their new role in the galaxy. Some loved it. Others were nervous. But most were simply curious. Alien tourists started visiting Earth. Human tourists started visiting other worlds. Cultural exchanges began. Trade agreements were signed. It wasn't perfect. There were incidents, misunderstandings, a bar fight between humans and Valtrine on a space station, a trade dispute over mineral rights, a diplomatic incident when a human accidentally insulted a Drex religious leader. But each problem was solved through talking, negotiation, compromise. The cooperative was working. President B.O. Ray. Yang's approval ratings were through the roof. She had taken humanity from isolated and hidden to leaders of a galactic alliance in less than a year. But she knew the real test was still coming. There are other empires out there, she told her council. Other powers that might see the cooperative as a threat. We need to be ready. Ready for what? Admiral Kong asked. Ready for the next test. Because there will be another test. Another species that thinks they can take what we've built. And when that happens, we need to be ready to defend it. The test came sooner than expected. A new fleet appeared at the edge of cooperative space. Not Valtrine. A different empire. The Corax Dominion. 3,000 ships. Heavily armed. They sent a message. We have heard of your cooperative. We are not interested in joining. We are here to conquer. Starting with the Kelvy system. Surrender or be destroyed. Captain Jin Wu received the alert while on patrol. Here we go again, he told Era. At least we know how this ends, Era replied. Admiral Kong mobilized the cooperative defense fleet. Not just Earth ships. Ships from 20 species, all working together. They met the Corax fleet at the edge of the Kelvy system. The Corax commander opened a channel. You defend these weak creatures? Why? Because they're our friends, Kong replied simply. And we protect our friends. Last chance to turn around. The Corax laughed. Your cooperative will fall. The strong always defeat the weak. Then today you'll learn what real strength looks like, Kong said. All ships weapons free. Show them why attacking the cooperative was a mistake. The battle lasted 8 minutes. The Corax fleet was more advanced than the Valtrine had been. But they were still decades behind Earth technology. And now they faced not just humans, but a unified force of multiple species working together. The cooperative fleet moved as one. Human ships provided heavy firepower. Kelvy ships used their superior sensors to coordinate. Reformed Valtrine ships proved their worth in close combat. Species that had been enemies months ago now fought side by side. The Corax fleet retreated after losing a third of their ships. They jumped to hyperspace and fled back to their territory. They did not send another fleet, but they did send a message. It reached the cooperative a week later. A simple statement. The Corax Dominion recognizes the Galactic Cooperative. We will not interfere with your territory. We request a non-aggression treaty. President B.O. Ra read the message and smiled. Send our reply. Tell them we accept. And invite them to send ambassadors to Earth. Let's turn an enemy into a neutral party. Maybe eventually into a friend. On Luna Base, Admiral Kong looked out at the stars. The same stars he had watched for decades. But they looked different now. Less threatening. More full of possibility. What are you thinking about? Hannah asked. About how we went from hiding to leading in 6 months. About how one battle changed everything. Do you think we made the right choice? Revealing ourselves? Kong considered the question. The Voltrine forced our hand. But yes, I think it was right. Hiding forever wasn't sustainable. Better to step into the light on our terms than to be dragged into it. And if another empire comes, one stronger than the Korax, then we deal with it. Together. That's what the cooperative is for. Hannah nodded. Think humanity's ready for all this? No, Kang admitted. But nobody ever is. We'll figure it out as we go. Across the galaxy, new rules were taking shape. Don't attack Earth. Don't attack the cooperative. If you have a dispute, talk it out. Trade is better than war. Cooperation is stronger than conquest. Some species ignored these rules. They tried to continue the old ways. Most learned quickly. A few had to be taught twice. But slowly, steadily, the galaxy was changing. Captain Jin Wu flew patrol routes that now extended across multiple star systems. He wasn't defending just Earth anymore. He was defending ideas, freedom, cooperation, peace. Era, you ever think about what we're doing? He asked during a quiet patrol shift. What do you mean? We're not soldiers anymore. Not really. We're more like ... peacekeepers, guardians. Is that bad? No, Jin said thoughtfully. It's better. Fighting is important. But this? Building something instead of just destroying? This is what it's really about. They flew on through the dark, watching over worlds that humans had never even heard of a year ago. Protecting people they had never met. Building a future that nobody thought was possible. And on Earth, in the deepest part of the ocean, the precursor ruins remained. Silent, ancient, waiting, because they had given humanity the tools to change the galaxy once. Who knew what other secrets they still held? What other gifts they might offer when the time was right? But that was a question for another day. For now, humanity had enough to deal with. Building a cooperative. Maintaining peace. Proving that strength and wisdom could coexist. The Empire had attacked Earth, thinking it would be easy. Instead, they had awakened something new. Not a conqueror. Not a tyrant. But a guardian. A teacher. A friend. And the galaxy would never be the same.